In this class, let's learn about percentage. What does the word percent mean? The word per means for every, and cent comes from the word centum, which means 100, and together percent means for every 100. It is denoted by this symbol, and when we write 25 percentage, it means 25 by 100, or in other words, for every 100 we are considering only 25. So similarly, what does 20% mean? 20% again means 20 by 100. So this number here is called the percentage. So what is percentage? Percentage is any number that can be expressed as the numerator of a fraction whose denominator is 100. So we write it percentage followed by the percent sign. That means this gives the numerator and this gives the denominator, which is 100. Now, how does this work in real life? This percent or percentage is a relative term. It is like the word half. Now, we don't just say half, right? We say half of something. For example, if I say I want half a glass, which means half of one glass. So, suppose half of 40. It is always in relative terms. Just like that, percentage is also a relative term. We write it as percentage of some number. Let us take the same number, 40. So now, what is half of 40? What is half? It is just another name for the fraction 1 by 2. And what does this of mean? When you mathematically decode this word of, it just means multiplied by. It is just another word for product. When you say product of 3 and 4, we mean 3 into 4. Just like that, when we say half of, it just means multiplied by. So it is half multiplied by 40. So this cut, so it is actually 20. So half of 40 is actually 20. So now what is 25% of 40? What is 25? This is a fraction. This gives the numerator of the fraction and this gives the denominator, which is 100. So we have 25 by 100. Again, the word of, it decodes into multiplication. So 25 by 100 into 40. And now how much is that? 100 is 25 into 4. So you cut this, you get 4 here. Again cut, you get 10 here. So 10 is the answer. 25% of 40 is so 10. Now what does this actually mean? Let us see. Now we just saw how to find out 45% or any percentage of any number. But what does this actually mean? Suppose you have a whole unit, say for example a class of students. It has two parts. You split it into two parts. Say girls and boys. Now when I say there are 25% of girls in the class, what does that mean? As we said first, the word percent means for every 100. So that means for every 100 students in the class, how many girls do you have? You have 25. 25 girls. So then, how many boys will be there? If out of 100, 25 are girls, then that would mean 75 out of 100 are boys. That means 75% are boys. So this is what the 25% actually means. You have a whole unit which is divided into parts. Here I have taken two parts. You can have any number of parts you want. When you have a whole unit divided into parts and you say the percentage of one part is, for example, 25%, which means that for every 100 in that unit, 25 is what you are referring to. And let us see another example. Suppose there is a bag of beads, and say you have beads of 3 colors. red, blue and yellow. Suppose I am telling you that there are 20% red beads in this bag. So what does that mean? For every 100 beads you take, for every 100 beads, how much is red? There are 20 red. And suppose blue is 40%, which means out of every 100 you take, 20 beads will be red, 40 beads will be blue. Then naturally how much will be yellow? Out of 100, if you take 20 and 40, 20 plus 40 would be 60, 100 minus 60 would be 40. So this will also be 40 out of 100. So when you know the values of these two, you can get this one. So this will be 40%. So this is what you mean by percentage. And now comes the question, how do I use it in daily life? So how does knowing a percentage help me? Let me show you a situation. Now suppose there is a class and you split it into two. Suppose those who are absent and those who are present. Right? So somebody tells me that the number of absent students is say 25%. So what does that mean? For every 100 students I take, 25 of them are absent. Then how many of them will be present? 75, right? Because 100 minus 25 will give you 75. So naturally 75 of them are present. But how is this going to help me? This says that if there are 100 in the class, but there is no class, there is going to be exactly 100, right? So what if the class that I am taking has only 40 students? Then how does this work? If I know that there are 25 people, 25% who are absent and the total strength of the class is 40, how do I know that how many of them are actually absent? Is it 1, is it 2, is it 10 or 20? How much out of this 40 are actually absent? So for that you use this formula. Percentage of a part is part by whole. Pretty simple, right? So now this is a general formula. This you can apply in any situation. But right now what is the situation you have here? There is a whole class, this one, and there is a part. There is actually two parts. One is the absent ones and one is the present ones, and then you have both their percentages. So the percentage, I will write it as PC, the percentage of absent students, what is the equation for that? What is the formula for that? By this. So do not forget to write this, because when I write percentage, it gives just the numerator. The denominator is given by this one, which means by 100. So please do not forget to write that. Percentage of absent students is the number of absent students by the whole number, the total number of the students. Right? Similarly, what will be the percentage of the present students? How much will that be? The number of present students by the total number of students. So this is just a general formula. So the percentage of absent students is number of absent by total. The percentage of present students is number of present students by the total. So first we will find how many of them are absent. By that itself you will get how many are present, right? So the percentage of absent students, we have the information here. What is it? It is 25%. And then we have this total also. When you take this up by cross multiplication, the total goes up here, right? By cross multiplication, we have the total also here. How much is the total? It is 40. That will give you the number of students who are absent. Now what is this? This is the one which we started by. 25 by 100 into 40. We already did it and we got the answer as 10. Remember that? So that is the number of actually students who are absent. So out of 40, if 10 are absent, then how many will be present? 30 will be present, right? So what does this actually mean? That means that if you are considering 100, then 25 are absent. But if the number is 40, 10 are absent. These two ratios are equal. Basically, that is what we are saying. 25 by 100 is the same as 10 by 40. That is what we are basically trying to tell here. So now you see this formula. As I said, this is a general formula. You can apply it for any condition. Now let us do some practice problems based on this formula. How many unknowns are there? There are 3 unknowns, right? There is percentage, there is part, and there is whole. So we will do some questions in which 2 of these quantities will be given and you have to find the third one. Let us start the problems. Now in a city, 30% are females, 40% are males. So we want to know how many children are there if the total population is 15 lakhs. So there you have a city, and what is the total population here? It is this much. And how is it split into? It is split into men and women and of course children. How many females are there? How many women are there? 30%. And how many male are there? It is given as 40%. So if you notice here, the percentage of children is not given, right? They have asked for the actual number of children, but the percentage of children is not given. How much will it be? Out of 100, if 40 are men and 30 are women, then how many will be children? 40 plus 30, that will be 70, and 100 minus 70, that will be 30%. So the percentage of children is 30%, but we don't want the percentage, we want the actual number. Out of this 15 lakh, how many are actually the children? So we know what the equation is, right? The percentage of children will be equal to the number of children by the total, right? So we know what the percentage of children here is. It is 30. And we don't know how many children are there. So suppose it is X. And we know the total, it is this. So X will be by cross multiplication, this one goes there. So 30 by 100 into this. 14 into 5 is 45. And then add to it 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. There. So this is the number of children. So what did we start with? We started with a city whose total population was this, and women were 30%, men were 30%, men were 40, and children, we found from these two we calculated that it was 30%, but the actual number of children is actually 4, this much. So that is the answer. But then using this, can you, it's not in the question, but still, can you get the number of women and the number of men also? See, women is also 30%. So if 30% is this, so the women are also the same number, right? So we have got the amount of women. Then how much will be the men? Men will be add these two and subtract it from this. So that's easy, right? When you add this, you get this much, right? You get 9 lakh. So the total population is 15 lakh. So how many men will there be? 6. So this is how they have split the population. So now we'll go to the next question. Now Meeta saves rupees 4,000 from her salary. If she spends the remaining 90%, what is her salary? So we don't know what her salary is, but we know that she saves some of it and she spends some of it. So there is some savings and there is some expenditure. Now how much does she spend? She spends 90%. But there is no information about how much she has saved. How much would she have saved if she has spent 90%? Out of 100, if she has spent 90, then how much did she save? Only 10%, right? That's really bad for someone to spend 90% of their income. Anyways, so this much is how she has saved, how much she has saved. But what is the actual quantity? It is rupees 4,000. In percentage it is 10%, but in amount it is 4,000, and we don't know how much the salary is. We know the formula, right? Percentage of savings, do not forget to put this sign, is actually equal to what? Savings by the total salary that she has. So how much is the percentage? This one, 10%. And how much is the savings? 4,000. And how much is the total? That is what we have to find out. Let it be x. So this is 10. So this is 10 by 100. Then by cross multiplication, I'll write it over here. So x is equal to so 40,000 is her actual salary. So you see that her total salary is 40,000. This is her total salary, out of which how much did she save? She saved this much. Savings was 4,000, which was just 10%, and the amount that she spent was 90%. How much was that? 40,000 minus 4,000, that would be 36,000. So she spent this much and saved only this. Now we'll go to the next problem. So out of 120 students, 30 like football. So there you have the total number of students is 120. Those who like football is just 30, and the remaining are those who don't like football. So what is the percentage? The percentage is the number of students who like football by the total number. So that is 30 by 120. So let this be x. So this is actually x percentage. X percentage is 30 by 120. That means x by 100 is equal to 30 by 120. So cross multiply, then you get, I'll write it here. So 30 into 4 is 120. 4, then 4 into 25 is so 25. But do you remember what we are finding? We are actually finding the percentage, right? So you cannot just write 25 and leave it like that. You have to add the sign. So 25% of students are the ones who like the football. Now let's find what is 1% of an hour. So 1% of an hour means an hour is 60 minutes, right? So let's find what it is. So this is what? This is a fraction. Its numerator is 1 and its denominator is 100. Of means multiplied by 60 minutes. So 60 and 100, they are both divisible by 20. So 20 into 3, 5. So The answer is 3 by 5 minutes. Now what is 3 by 5 minutes? 1 minute is 60 seconds, right? So 3 by 5 into 60 seconds. So again, so 36 seconds. Both are correct. Either you can just leave it at minutes, 3 by 5 of 1 minute. So if you take 1 minute, split it into 5 parts, take 3, that is the answer, or you can change it into seconds. Now look at the second question. 5% of what is 60 grams? 5% is 5 by 100. Of means into. Of what? Let it be x is equal to 60 gram. Now cross multiply. X is equal to, this goes here, 60 into 100 by 5. As we are dealing with units, please remember to put the units also. Now 5 into 20 will be 100. So 1200 grams is the answer. So 1200 grams would be 1.2 kilogram. That is the answer. So we saw that any percentage can be written as fraction. So now it hurts my feelings to just see a fraction which is not in its lowest terms. So what we will do is we will reduce it to its lowest terms. So how do we do that? 25 into 4 gives us 100. So this is actually, there you go, it is 1 by 4. Now, if a percentage can be converted into a fraction, how do we come back? This is how we do it. To convert a fraction into a percentage, we multiply it with 100 by 100. Now, what is the logic behind it? Suppose we take randomly, let us take number 2. Now, what is that number which when multiplied with 2 gives 2 itself? It is 1, right? 1 is the only number which when multiplied with any number will give the number itself. Now, suppose for some reason with this 2, I want 100 in the denominator. Now, I cannot just put 100 here. Then that would mean 2 is equal to 2 by 100. That would be wrong. Now, how do I balance it? I balance it by writing another 100 here. Now, what is 100 by 100? It is 1. So, this is just another way of writing 2 into 1. So, 2 is equal to 2. Nothing wrong with that. So, now what will I do? I will just keep this 100 as it is and multiply these two. So, I will get 200 by 100. So, 200 by 100 is 2. So, the number still remains the same. We have not disturbed it and we have 100 in the denominator. That is the logic behind what we are doing now. So, whenever you want to convert a fraction into a percentage, multiply it with by 100 by 100. Do not touch this 100. Let this remain just like that and find the answer of 100 divided by 4, which is 25, and that is 25%. This is how we convert it. Now, similarly, just like we can convert percentages into fraction, we can convert percentage into decimals also. Let us see how that happens. Take 25%, that is 25 by 100, that is 0.25. So how does dividing a number by a power of 10, any power of 10 work? Let us see some random examples. Say 27. 27 by 10. Now, see how many zeros does this power of 10 have? It is 10 raised to 1, just 1 0, right? So, start counting from here. That is the number of places you have to move back. So, 1 0 here means one number after the decimal point. So, now what happens if the number already has a decimal point? Then, suppose you have 2.7 by 10. Then, you know how we usually start counting from the end of the number? But here, you start counting from the decimal point. just move 1 point forward. So it will be 0.27. So now if from a percentage we come to decimals like this, then it is easy to go back, right? So 0.25 would be what? It is 25 divided by what power of 10? How many zeros will that power of 10 have? 1, 2. So 100. This is what happens. Now see this table. Here we will convert percentages, fractions and decimals into each other. We will start with the first one, that is a fraction. It is 3 by 10. How do we convert a fraction into a percentage? We multiply it with 100 by 100 and do not touch this. Let it be there and just do 300 by 10. And what would that be? 300 by 10 would be 30. So this is 30 by 100, or in other words 30%. Now instead of that, you can see 10 is actually a factor of 100, right? So you can even directly do like this. See, finished. 30 by 100. Whichever way you go, what you need is 100 in the denominator. So 3 by 10 is actually 30%. So 30 divided by 100 would be, we know how to divide a number by a power of 10, right? Write 30, move back 2 places. 1, 2, move back 2 places. Put a decimal point here. But remember that 0.3 is the same as 0.30. That is the same as 0.300. However many zeros you put after the decimal point, it does not matter. It is always the same. So you can write it as 0.3. That would be enough. No need to add a 0 there. Now next is 1 by 4. The same thing. How do we convert a fraction into a decimal? Usually we do it by multiplying it with 100 by 100. Then we do not touch this, we leave this as it is and just multiply and just divide 100 by 4. But then 4 is also a factor of 100, isn't it? So won't it be easy to just do it like this? Sorry, it's 25. 4 into 25 into 25. So that would be 25 by 100. So as I said, whichever way you go, you just need 100 in the denominator here. Here also 100 divided by 4 would be 25. So now these two are easy because both the denominators 10 and 4 are factors of 100. So you can just directly do this. So this is 25%. And its decimal would be easy, right? Write 25 and move back 2 places. That would be 0.25. Now we have 2 percentages in the next row of the table. 50%. 50% is what? 50 by 100. And as I said, when you see a fraction like this, make sure you reduce it to its lowest terms. So what is this? It is the same as 1 by 2. So the fraction here is 1 by 2. And 50 by 100, how do you make it into a decimal? 0.50. That's easy, right? Go back to 2 places. 0.50, which is the same as 0.5. Now, what is 75 by 100? Both 75 and 100 come in the 25 table. 25 into 3 is 75. 25 into 4 is 100. So this answer is the same as 3 by 4. Again, how do you make it into a decimal? Easy. It is 7.75. Now, for the last one. If the fraction is 1, what does that mean? Whenever you see a fraction, you see a denominator and a numerator, right? So if it is just 1, what is its denominator? It is 1. And then how do you make it into a percentage? You need the 100 in the denominator. So multiply the top also by 100. So this is 100%. And then how do you make this into a decimal? It is just 1 because it is not divided by any power of 10, right? If it was 1 by 10, you would have written it 0.1. But then it is just 1. So if fraction is 1, decimal is 1 and it is 100%. Now, what is the use of going through all of this? Why are we converting it into the percentages into fractions and decimals? For one, it makes our calculation very easy. Suppose, what is 100% of say 500? What is that? It is just 100% means 1. So it is the same as 1 multiplied by 500, which is the whole of 500. So 100% of a number is a number itself. Now what is 50% of a number? See that? It is half. So when I say 50% of a number, what do I mean? I mean it is the half of that number. I am just multiplying it by half. So that would be 250. What do I mean when I say 25% of a number? Multiply it by 4. So that's easy, right? So with this we come to the end of this class. Till I meet you again, stay safe. Salam alaikum.